What's up, guys? We are back for another NECA Toys review, taking a look at another figure in the arcade Alien vs. Predator line. Today we're taking a look at the Mad Predator. This is one that I've definitely been looking forward to just based on design alone, and I remember fighting this guy very, very fondly in the game. This character definitely sticks out to me. So we've got him here in that same style of window box. You can see him there in the window. We've got the logo and the product shot down on the bottom, and then on the back we've got another product shot. We've got the character lineup done in a character select type screen, as well as a write-up for the game. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. Alright guys, here he is out of the package, our AVP Arcade Mad Predator, and this is the one that I was looking forward to the most. Just because, honestly, just because he's blue. And I have a really strong liking for blue Predators, but at the same time, I do like this Predator's design, and I fondly, well, maybe not fondly remember, but I remember this boss battle from the game, because he's not a playable character, he's one of the bosses. A really easy boss, too, if you know how to do it. But this figure absolutely looks stunning. I think NECA has done a great job, so let's get right down to it, start with articulation, and see how this guy moves around. So as usual, we'll start with the head, and you can tilt up really far. You go down basically as far as the anatomy will allow you. There's really no issues with range of movement here. You can spin side to side. Of course, you have a plasma caster on the shoulder there. You could take it off and he will move better, but that is always going to be a thing with Predators. And then you've got a little bobble side to side. Arms do go out. You do have to watch this particular arm because of the fact that he's got these armor pieces and he's got the plasma caster up there. So you can get the arm to go, but just watch where it's actually going. And then of course we have got the same kind of problem that we have with the Ahab Predator, because he uses those same parts, is that he's got these tubes. So watch what you're doing, because if you remember that review, I actually believe that I ripped this one off. I don't know that it was broken by me or if it was in the package, but I never noticed it. And it's broken. So you just have to watch that. There are bicep swivels in there, and then you've got double jointed elbows, but watch this one because we've got another tube. And then, just make sure it's kind of on the outside of the arm. And then you've got rotation at the gauntlet, you've got rotation at the wrist, and then you've got hinges. We've got that upper diaphragm swivel, and then we've got a waist twist. He doesn't really go too far back or forth, but with the help of that upper diaphragm swivel there, it'll help him lean backwards and forwards a bit. Legs go out pretty far. Kick forward, kick back. You got a thigh cut up there. We've got double jointed knees. And then we've got those telltale NECA ball pegs down to the legs. So rotation, rock side to side, and then hinge back and forth. So as far as articulation, I mean, he comes with just about everything I would expect at this point. He's not really missing anything. The only thing you really want to watch out for are those tubes. Just make sure you aren't stressing them too much when you bend those joints. Now, as far as the overall look and feel of this figure, I think you probably already know what I'm going to say. And for me, this figure is all about the looks, the way he's sculpted, and specifically the paint. Because I really, really like this color scheme. I like this particular type of paint scheme that they're using for these Predators to begin with. But this one, being that kind of powder blue with a darker blue color over top, it just pops. They're very different when it comes to Predators. There aren't tons of blue ones. There are a handful, but they always stand out, and it just works really, really well. So we do have a lot of the same parts that we've seen on the Ahab Predator, and I'm sure those come from other Predators as well. That just happens to be the one that's fresh in my mind because it's so recent. So he's got the same harness. We've got the same kind of thigh pads. We've got the same kind of shin guards down here, same plasma caster, that kind of stuff, which is perfectly fine because it all very much fits this Predator. Of course, the big thing is the paint, though, and how it's applied and what it looks like. And I really, really like, this kind of comic style, arcade style, because it's very much a comic-y kind of arcade game, and it looks really nice with that kind of airbrushed effect in the line work on the legs, and then especially on the chest, and then of course up at the head, which we'll look at in a minute. So we do have armor plating all over this body here. We've got some on the shoulder. Again, we've got some over here on this shoulder. This is the big one. Of course, we've got the plasma caster up there as well, and it's all brown with some tan accents to it. We do have the gauntlet here. You can open the flap on there, and you can see the control panel. And we have got a kind of tribalistic almost loincloth that we have here with more of the same kind of design for the thigh pads, for the shin guards, and then we've got another gauntlet on the right hand with the same kind of blade that we saw on the Hunter Predator. They just all share the same thing for this line, with more of that really stark white matte finish color for the blades. So in general, I mean, I think the figure looks fantastic. He's very imposing, just incredibly menacing. It's everything that a Predator should be. He just happens to also be blue, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a winning combination. And then you've got, you've got loincloth on the back, and then you've got more of that plasma caster back there. So there's just a lot of stuff going on with this figure. He's kind of simplistic because he's not covered in armor, but at the same time, you want to see that blue, and it really pops, and it's just nicely done. If I have one issue with this figure, it's that I've got a little splotch of the dark blue on his left thigh. But at the end of the day, that's not really a big deal for me. I can certainly overlook that. Now for the head, we do have just the one, so that's the thing with this particular line. They don't have any swappable heads. So the other two Predators have masks. This one is unmasked, and that actually is fine if it's the game. So you've got just another fantastic example of this style of paint. So we've got that powder blue skin with the dark blue markings. You've got that kind of powder blue mandibles. He's got blue gums and brown teeth. It's just little things like that that really make this figure interesting. And then we have got stark white pupils in there in kind of a black void, which just works. Everything about this figure just pops. And I know I've said that a lot, but it's really what I think of when I think of this guy. It's just that everything about him is really striking. He's visually different. And then, of course, we do have the Telltale Predator dreadlocks. They do get kind of tangled up with that plasma caster back there. That's nothing new. And this is kind of standard stuff as far as the dreadlocks go. So black with some tan back there. But really, it's all about the blue skin. The face is easily my favorite part of this figure. Normally, I always go for a masked look with my Predators. It's just the thing. It's always what I like to see is Predator masks. But this figure just looks so good. Even if he had a mask, I don't think I would use it. Something about the blue skin just really works. It makes him visually different, and it's always fun to have something stand out a little bit on your shelf. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy also deviates a bit from the other figures in this line. So we do, of course, have the plasma caster, which I've talked about briefly, and it's the same one that Ahab has. We've seen this before. So you've got a hinge, you've got another hinge at the top, and you've got a ball joint there so you can rotate. And it works just fine. It's the same kind of standard stuff we see in the line over and over and over again. I tend to not consider them accessories just because, it's a thing that Predators have. Kind of overlook them, but it is an accessory in this instance. But he does have other stuff, but they're not actually weapons. So what he comes with are things that are very much in line with the Alien vs. Predator namesake that this guy comes from. So we have got a facehugger to start with. So we've got things that are not weapons that are in their own rights, their own small little pack-ins. So we've got a facehugger, and he can hold this guy. You can actually have him hold it in his left hand. You can get it wrapped around his arm, because this guy has a bendy wire in what would be the tail. And then you've got tons of paint and detail on the inside or the underbelly of the facehugger. So you've got that guy. And then we've got the chest burster as well, which again is its own little thing, its own pack-in on its own right. A lot of paint, a lot of sculpt. I know this has been used before. It's certainly not unique to the Mad Predator. And then he can hold this guy really, really well in his right hand, like he's grabbed it as it jumped out at him, or he caught it before he gets attacked or something like that. So while he doesn't have any other weapons outside of the plasma caster, which is fine, taken from the boss fight that he comes from, I think it's really, really cool that NECA packed these in. It's just another thing that thematically brings everything together because of the game. So at the end of the day, this is absolutely a winner. There is no doubt about it. This figure does a lot of things absolutely right for me on a personal level, but on a technical level, there's just really nothing to complain about here. It's got all that ultimate style Predator articulation that we've come to expect. Fantastic paint job, fantastic colors, very, very nicely done accessories that very much play up the aspect of this character in the game, not to mention just look good on their own. And it's a blue Predator. I really have a strong liking for blue Predators. They just plain work, and this is no exception. So not to mention the fact that I love this video game, and despite the fact that this guy is a really easy, weak boss, if you know how to do it right, he works really, really well in action figure form, and I think NECA absolutely blew it out of the park. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys AVP Arcade Mad Predator. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.